Welcome to Triumph IAS. It's a daily mains practice question and answer series. This program is exclusively designed for UPSC CSE aspirants. In this video discussion, we will discuss UPSC CSE mains previous 25-year questions. Question number 1. India is well endowed with fresh water resources. Critically examine why it still suffers from water scarcity. Let's start with the introduction of the answer. India is geographically placed in a manner that it receives plenty of fresh water from multiple sources, therefore it is well endowed with fresh water resources. However, several factors like poor management of water resources have resulted into water scarcity in India. The causes of water scarcity can be discussed under following heads. The main body of the answer should be: Number 1. Rivers. Discharge of industrial and municipal waste into rivers have made river water unfit for human use. Most of the rivers are polluted at levels considered unsafe by modern standards. The waters of the Yamuna, Ganga and Sabarmati flow with a deadly mix of pollutants, both hazardous and organic. Number 2. Rainwater. The average annual rainfall received by India is higher than that of world average. However, the unequal distribution of rainfall, sporadic nature of monsoon and poor rainwater harvesting practices results into most of the rainwater being flushed into drains and oceans. Number 3. Groundwater. India's groundwater use stand at roughly 1/4 of the global usage. Unregulated exploitation of groundwater for irrigation, domestic and industrial purpose has severely reduced the water table. Further, groundwater in many areas is being polluted by mining activities. Number 4. Ponds and lakes. India is endowed with millions of big and small ponds and lakes. But activities like washing clothes and animals in the pond, dumping waste, encroachment around the lakes have degenerated them. Number 5. Climate change increases incidences of droughts and reduce annual precipitation in drought-prone regions. Overpopulated cities create pressure on natural resources, adding to the problem of water scarcity. Low awareness water usage efficiency coupled with increasing purchasing power of people has increased demand, leading to magnification of the problem. Lack of recycling capacity for used water and low emphasis on water treatment and reuse has led to reduction in input to water sources. The conclusion of the answer is: successive governments have been either slow or unwilling to adapt to newer technologies or cohesive plans to address the issue of water security. To meet the problem of water scarcity, it is necessary to use water resources in a planned and comprehensive way. Question number 2. The emergence of self-help groups in contemporary times points to the slow but steady withdrawal of the state from developmental activities. Examine the role of the SHGs in developmental activities and the measures taken by the Government of India to promote the SHGs. Let's start with the introduction of the answer. Self-help groups have become the vehicle of change in the rural areas, transforming the lives of the marginalized. Low financial investment through SHGs ensures large economic benefits in return. Let's start with the main body of the answer. Role of SHGs in development activities. Number 1. SHGs often appear to be instrumental in rural poverty alleviation. SHGs expand the horizons of livelihood opportunities for rural poor. Number 2. It helps the poor, especially women, to establish their credit worthiness. Number 3. The participation in SHG and the access obtained to savings and credit can play a transformational role for women, socially and economically. Number 4. Because of the successful implication of SHGs, dependence on money lenders has reduced significantly. Number 5. Through credit obtained from SHGs, the members made efforts both to protect their families from various vulnerabilities as well as build their economic base to escape poverty. Number 6. Through socio-economic empowerment of women, SHGs often create hope for gender equality within societies. Measures taken by the government. Number 1. Formal financial institutions in the country have been playing a leading role in the microfinance program. These programs are providing the SHGs with the initial capital. Number 2. Recently the government approved the provision of interest subvention for women SHGs, ensuring that they shall avail loans at minimum interest rate. Number 3. Government has initiated the concept of self-help groups pooling in the similar socio-economic profile. They are provided with skill training and certain loan amount to take up certain activity. Number 4. Bank SHG linkage program initiated by NABARD is providing timely finance to thousands of SHG in the country. Government is also providing training and various other skill development programs to SHGs. Number 5. Swama Jayanti Gram Swarozgar Yojana aims to eradicate poverty by providing income-generating assets to rural people via SHG. The conclusion of the answer is: despite its success, the growth of SHG has been skewed. The distribution of SHG in the country is uneven and there is some regional imbalance. Government is making all efforts to spread the concept and the medium of SHGs across the country to help achieve inclusive growth. Question number 3. Account for the failure of manufacturing sector in achieving the goal of labor-intensive exports rather than capital-intensive exports. Suggest measures for more labor-intensive rather than capital-intensive exports. Let's start with the introduction of the answer. Data from the annual survey of industries indicates that during the last decade the capital and skill-intensive industries have grown at a much faster rate when compared to the labor-intensive industries. The main body of the answer should be: the factors responsible for the failure of manufacturing sector in achieving the goal of labor-intensive exports are: Number 1. Declining competitiveness of Indian products in some of the labor-intensive sectors. Number 2. The economic survey highlighted how India is losing out in labor-intensive sectors like apparel and footwear. Number 3. Investment in manufacturing has been largely remained limited to capital-intensive sectors instead of labor-intensive sectors. Underutilization of available resources. Indian firms in the apparel and leather sectors are smaller than those in China, Vietnam and Bangladesh. Suggest measures for more labor-intensive exports. Number 1. Small-scale and medium-scale industries can be given interest-free loans and tax holidays. India needs structural changes to attain higher and sustainable exports growth in labor-intensive sectors. Number 2. India will need to work on increasing competitiveness to expand its exports share in the world market. India needs to improve logistics to increase efficiency, both in terms of the time and costs involved. Government should urgently push the reforms required in the factor market. Number 3. It should also look for opportunities to reduce trade barriers at the regional and bilateral levels. Food processing industry must be highlighted, leading to huge jobs at local level. The conclusion of the answer is: it will be important to keep the currency competitive. Policymaker needs to increase the pace of reforms as challenges on the export front may increase owing to the growing threat of protectionism and rising automation.